Breaking news, the people of Araya once believed their leaders were chosen through wisdom and counsel, but that belief died the day Emperor Papazillion appeared. He was a wealthy merchant of shadows, the type of man whose fortune nobody could trace. Papazillion's name floated in every scandal but was never written on any document. When it was time to pick a new emperor, Papazillion saw his long-awaited opportunity. He did not campaign. He bought. First, he bought the system. The keepers of records, the judges of elections, the scribes who counted votes. He summoned them to silent meetings in expensive inns, where gold lay on the table like bread. "You don't need to love me," he said calmly. "You only need to sign here." Many signed. Some refused, those few who still believed justice was sacred. He took note of their names. Next, he bought support. He targeted men whose hearts were already poisoned with tribal pride. "You and I," he whispered to them, "we are the true owners of this land. Should people from other tribes rule over us? Help me and our tribe will never suffer again." They believed Papazillion. They shouted in his favor, not because he was good, but because he was one of them. They spread hate in the markets and on the streets. Neighbor looked at neighbor with suspicion. Papazillion didn't need to win every heart. He just needed enough to make the land noisy with his name. The few who refused to be bought, who said, "We want justice, not tribe. We want competence, not cash," were marked as enemies of progress. What? He didn't bother to argue with them. He oppressed them. Their businesses were suddenly audited and shut down. Their children were denied admission to schools. But power in Aria didn't rest only in palaces. It also rested in religious altars. Papazillion understood that if the pulpit spoke, the people listened. So he reached out to the great religious leaders, the ones whose voices could shake stadiums and fill temples. He did not come empty-handed. He came with donations, promises of new buildings, expensive cars, private jets, and secret envelopes. To bind them deeper, he and his cartel married into their families. The holy men began to speak in a new tone. "Is chosen by destiny. Do not rebel. God hates rebellion." The few people who questioned the holy ones were told they were questioning heaven. When Papazillion finally seized full power, there were no celebrations, only shock. Papazillion filled key offices with loyal thieves who had neither skill nor compassion. Very quickly, the land began to bleed. Him and his cartel sold the oil, gold, forest, and farmlands to foreign companies and kept the money for themselves. Hospitals decayed, schools crumbled, roads became death traps, factories died one by one. They go on boat crews and organize parties with girls with big nyansh everywhere. The poor became poorer. The rich became poorer unless they were part of the cartel. The nights were no longer dark, they were dangerous. Terrorists crept out from forgotten corners and took over towns and villages. They burned homes, kidnapped children, and demanded ransoms. People cried out, "Where is our emperor? Where is Papazillion? Where is our army?" But Papazillion and his cartel had turned the army into their private guards. Soldiers stood at their gates, protecting mansions, while villagers screamed in the distance. Instead of fixing the broken land, Papazillion perfected a wicked strategy. He used the suffering of his own people as a business proposal. He traveled to rich nations carrying documents filled with pictures of starving children and burnt villages. "Our land is in crisis. Help us. Lend us money. Donate weapons so we could help our people." The world, moved by the images, gave him millions, billions, and zillions. Most of the aid never reached the people. It vanished into foreign bank accounts, into private islands, secret tunnels of wealth. Meanwhile, in the slums of Aria, mothers boiled stones to pretend they are cooking so their hungry children could fall asleep. Papazillion's men even controlled the charity food. They would only share bags of rice when the cameras were on or when they needed votes for another sham election. From time to time, the people gathered in protest. Students marched with cardboard signs. Workers blocked major roads. Mothers held up pictures of missing sons and daughters. Enough! End bad governance! Papazillion never came out to listen. Instead, he whispered to his generals,
"Teach them the meaning of silence."
Trucks rolled onto the streets, tear gas filled the air, batons and bullets were used like punctuation marks. Protesters were chased, beaten, arrested. Some never came back. Anyone who spoke too loudly online found policemen at their door at midnight. Hope began to drain from the hearts of the people. Some sold everything and fled to foreign lands. Some drowned in the sea, chasing the rumor of a better land. Some stayed behind, homeless in their own country, walking like shadows. In time, Araya's pain could no longer be hidden by propaganda. Videos leaked, stories escaped. The citizens began begging other nations, please help us. We are prisoners in our own land. We have an emperor who bought the preachers, who bought the judges, who bought the army. He bought the throne, but he never bought a conscience. Some foreign leaders only cared about Araya's resources. Some genuinely wanted to help, but feared being drawn into endless conflict. Inside Araya, the people looked at the sky, at embassies, at distant flags, praying that someone, anyone, would break the chains of Papa Zillion and his cartel. Until that day, they lived on in a land that bled quietly. A land where power was not earned, but purchased. Where the poor were not protected, but used. Where truth was not welcomed, but beaten to the ground. Stay tuned. More stories coming your way.